Welcome back to the channel. This is the Action Figure Grader, and today we're covering recent sales for the vintage collection. And this week there's actually been some pretty interesting sales. I've had kind of a struggle finding recent interesting to talk about sales for the vintage collection. Not so this week. Lots of really interesting data. We had two different SDCC Death Star box sets that sold, and a few vehicles, a couple of graded items, and then some TVC 1.0 that I thought were worth talking about. Before I dig in, I need to say thank you for a super. Anthony sent a super for one of my videos last week. Thank you very much for doing that. And if I haven't mentioned it already, I also want to say thank you to Jason Conway for recently re-upping and deciding to join back on my Patreon page. He was a member, and then he stopped, and then he became a member again. So thank you, Jason. I know you're a big TVC collector, so I wanted to make sure that you saw it here as well. All right, let's dig in. Lots of cool sales, some buy it nows, as well as some making offers and some auctions. We're going to start off with several different Boba Fett's that sold. First was the Foil Ultimate Galactic Hunt version, $75. What a deal. Very nice deal for one that was in pretty good shape, really. I mean, it had some light edge wear to it, but overall, very, very clean, about 85 grade condition. 75 bucks, that's a good deal there. Next up was an unpunched Revenge of the Jedi Fett. This was the retail release with the prototype Fett offer sticker, US card. Again, one little light ding up here. You can see some sticker residue from where it was removed, so by no means perfect. The seller was very clear about the condition, but I wanted to at least show this since I've got a few other Fetts I wanted to show. This one sold for $106. I think if it didn't have that issue, you're probably looking at more like $150-ish. What do you guys think on that? Maybe as you're leaving a like, let me know what you paid for yours, but I think $150, $175 maybe at the top end. But given this one did have some issues, it had some edge wear, things like that, $105.99 was not a bad deal at all. I thought this was a really good deal. This was still sealed in the shipper box. This was the rocket firing Boba Fett. You want to talk about an item that has really collapsed in price. The rocket firing Fett in, let's call it near mint to near mint minus condition, out of the box is like 75 bucks now. I mean, it's crazy how much it's dropped. I remember during the Book of Boba Fett, one of these, it was AFA uncirculated 9.25. It sold for $750. $750. Now you can buy one of these still sealed in the box, send it in yourself to AFA for uncirculated designated grading, and you're paying 75 bucks plus shipping for it. Unbelievable how much that one has fallen. Here was one I had, I believe, in one of my What to Buy videos. This was the Canadian example of Zam Wessel, and this seller has a bunch of other awesome Canadian items that are ending very soon, and I was going to wait to include them all in this video, but my work schedule is not going to allow it. So this is the only one that's closed, but he does have some really nice Canadian gems at auction as well. And this was an unpunched Canadian Zam in very good shape overall. Not perfect by any means, but pretty darn close. Came in a star case. That one sold, two bids, 120 Canadian, which is 88 US dollars. Not a terrible deal. Very low shipping as well from, I don't know where this is, IA Prairie, so IA Prairie, Canada. Do not know where that is. Maybe Wizzy, the resident Canadian, can fill us in as to where IA Prairie is, but that's a really cool name for a city. Next up, Jango Fett. This seller usually lists at the upper end of the price range, Star Wars Galaxies, but I think he has an unlimited supply of sealed Hasbro cases that he's opening and just dumping them out there for these TVC 1.0. They're all in near mint shape, and he does price them at the upper end of the scale, in all fairness, but they are very, very mint looking. He had three different Jango Fetts, all of them US card unpunched. All three of them sold for $170, which is a little higher than where they usually go, admittedly. And again, that's kind of the MO for this seller, but the trade-off is you're getting ones in very clean condition or very light edge wear. But, you know, again, zoom in on the photos, make sure that, you know, when you got three for sale, how do you know that the one in the photo is the one you're getting? So I would recommend messaging sellers when they have this kind of multiple copies of an item. Make sure you get photos of the item you're buying, especially if you're paying above market value at $170. Very nice item, though. Commander Gree. This seller also has really nice TVC 1.0 lately. This was an unpunched US card. That one was listed for $160. Best offer accepted on that was $150. This one was like $200 plus about a year and a half ago. So that one has come back down a little bit. Luke Skywalker Dagobah Landing. It looks like the clear, lighter saber version, which is a little tougher. I've found to be a little tougher to find. Again, if you look at like Jedi Temple Archives and some of those other documenting websites, they all say that the lighter saber and the darker saber are about equal. I've found it to be harder to find the lighter saber. Neither one of them's terribly hard to find, but this one was the lighter saber, unpunched US card, VC44, just light edgeware to it. That one sold for $99 plus $6.75 shipping. The AT-RT driver, that's another one that's come back down to earth just a little bit. It got really expensive there for a while. It seems like people have moved on to something else now, but AT-RT, that one was listed for $130. That sold for $120, which is actually a little higher than where it's been selling. I've seen them sell as low as even sub $100, but that one did sell for $120, make an offer. Princess Leia in her slave outfit. This one was unpunched. It did have a little crease on the hang tab there that you can see, but overall pretty good shape. Probably about 85 grade condition, maybe 85 plus if you bribe the graders with some cookies. Send in cookies with the item when you get it graded. Maybe they'll give you a better score. I've never tried that, okay? I've never tried that. It's very tempting, though, to see if it would work. But you can see the obvious wear around that hang tab. I don't know how they account for that. You know, obviously, even on the card itself, right below the hang tab, there's a little bit of a you know, kind of a slight damage to the card, I guess is the right word. But still, it's pretty clean. I mean, let's be real here. That's a very clean example. $275 was the list price on that one. That one sold for $250. So again, even Slave Leia, which is one of the more desirable TVC 1.0, VC64, even that one has come back down to earth just a little bit. Oddball is another one that's come back down to earth. That one sold for $85. I found two sales at $80 and $85. This one did have a ding in the lower right-hand corner on the back as well, so it wasn't perfect. It presents really nicely from the front. Slap it in a star case, put it on your wall, move along with something else that you need. Here was Grand Moff Tarkin, unpunched on the US card. It did have a slight crease in the upper left-hand corner that you can see by the racetrack, but overall, pretty clean example. I mean, this is probably like 80 plus, quite honestly. Not as clean as some of the ones I've seen. And again, you got to zoom in. Look at that. If you look really carefully at the photos, it's all disclosed, but you got to zoom in on the photos to see these creases. At first blush, if you're just looking at it on your phone, you might miss some of those defects. So really take the time, especially if you're paying big boy money like this. This was listed for $125. It sold for $100. I think you can probably pay $100 these days and get one in better condition. So just be a little patient on it. But that was still a nice example. I'm not trying to disparage the item, but I'm just saying be patient. And if you're really picky on card condition, find one. Look at all the edgeware on the back. You can see all this edgeware on the back of the card as well. So it was 80 plus condition probably. And again, it sold for $100. Next up, Lumat. I found a Lumat that was loose. It was loose complete. It had all the arrows, just like you can see here. He's got these arrows in there. But it was loose, and it sold in an auction for $79. And here was one mint on card that sold at an auction for $102.50. Now, I suppose if you're a diorama guy and you just want the figure complete, then $78 is a lot better than $102.50. But, to get one mint on card, if you're a mint on card collector, how many of you guys out there are loose collectors for TVC? I'm just curious. Or whether you only go mint on card. It seems like, to me anyway, that maybe it's because I'm a mint on card guy when it comes to TVC. I don't really have many of them anymore, but to me, I would think that the vast majority of people buying them probably buy two, one to open and one to keep mint on card on their wall or in their collection, whatever. But I'd be curious if some of you guys don't collect mint on card at all when it comes to TVC. Anyway, $102.50 took that one home. Princess Leia Bespin. This was a nice looking example. Came in a star case. Very clean. Take it back. It had a little crease. See? There's a little crease. Color breaking crease on the right hand side. In all fairness, it was priced a little lower than where it usually sells. This one was listed for $90 and it did sell. Usually it's more like what, $110, $120. Again, it was minor. It was a minor crease, but it was notable. Unpunched though, US card. It looks a lot better from a distance, but you can even see here it did have that color breaking crease on the right hand side. Smuggler's Run Falcon. let's talk about an item that's going up in price. This one is continually selling for higher and higher prices. This one was listed for $800. Best offer accepted on that was $750. And then here was another one that sold for $800. So $800 to $750 on the low end. This one was $800 free shipping. This one was $750 plus $127.50 or $127.93 in shipping. So that's even more expensive, really. That's, you know, that's like $870 or $975. $875 for a final sales price. This one sold $800 free shipping, but that's a big number. I mean, that's really gone up in price and continues to go up. So, little surprised that one has held its value as well as it has, but I guess because of its limited production run, I don't know, and the fact that it was, you know, Galaxy's Edge trading outpost marked, so that might be part of it. Ewok Scouts, this is that special action figure set that was a Kmart exclusive. We've talked about these recently. This one sold for $120. I found another example that was not as clean as this one that sold for $85. So anywhere from $85 to $120, big price range there on that one. Two graded items before we talk about the Death Star box sets that sold. This was the Walmart exclusive Arc Commander Havoc, graded 8.5. This is the no goatee clean shaven version. Interesting to me that AFA did not break those down like they do the Boba Fett with the chest sensor or no chest sensor. Maybe they just are not aware of that factory error, or they just don't care. But that was an 8.5 Walmart exclusive. Was not mentioned that as the no goatee version of Arc Commander Havoc. That one sold for $125 plus $14 shipping. One bid in an auction. Here was a Ahsoka first release VC-102 graded CAS 85 plus. That one's a big number. $480 took that home. I think I sold my CAS 90. That was also it was also unpunched. I think I sold mine for like $330. And it was a CAS 90. This was a CAS 85 plus, and it sold for $480. So maybe that shows you that some items are moving up a little bit in price, or maybe I just undersold mine. Who knows? Next up, we do got to talk about the two Revenge of the Jedi sets that sold, and I've got some interesting data for you. All right. So this one sold in an auction, and this was a YouTube channel viewer, and he was very excited about getting it. On one bid, $1,400. This was the full set. Now, it did have about $200 in shipping, so let's call that $1,600. But look how clean the seals were on this box. This box looked to be pretty much pristine. Pretty much pristine. And usually the box is worn out and got lots of dings and things like that. This one was a very, very clean example. So congrats who got that one. I thought that was a great buy at, let's call it $1,600 after shipping. So that's one data point. And then this one sold May 19th. This one, I forgot what date it was, but it was a little bit later than that. This one was listed for $2,000. The best offer accepted on that one was $1,500. $1,500 on this one. Now this one was opened, and the box was not bad, but it wasn't nearly as clean. That one only had shipping of $31. So it was a little bit less after you factor in shipping, but the box on this other one was pristine. I mean, that is a beautiful box and very well cared for overall. So I thought that was a really good deal relative to this one that sold. Now keep in mind, I found another data point from March 4th. March 4th, so really only, let's call it 2.5 months ago, thereabouts. One sold for $2,250. $2,250 versus $1,600 is the current rate. So pretty incredible to see how much that one has dropped. And you got to remember that probably about a year ago, this was more like what, $2,500, $2,800 thereabouts. Now you're getting one for $1,600 in this kind of condition. Very, very good deal, I think, on that one. And I didn't know about it. You know, he told me after the fact that this one was going, and well, he told me he bid on it, and he said, "What do you think it's going to go for?" And I told him it was going to go for $1,800 to $1,900 because of the condition of this box. It was so mint, and it only went for $1,400. He was the only bid, so I'm really happy for him. Admittedly, it did have $200 in shipping, so I think at $200 in shipping, it better arrive in this kind of shape. But I thought in general that was a really good buy relative to the one just 2.5 months ago that sold for $2,250 plus shipping. So anyway, just some more cool data points out there for the vintage collection. As always, thank you for watching. Please, again, leave me a like, and I'll be back soon.